The USA has some of the biggest and best theme parks anywhere in the world and has some of the most fantastic roller coasters that you can find on the face of the planet. Massive theme park chains such as Six Flags, Herschend, Cedar Fair and SeaWorld and the Busch Gardens parks means that there is a wide collection of different manufacturers, models and coasters that are placed all over the country and rank amongst many enthusiasts' top 10 to 15 coasters. Remember, this is just my opinion, this is going to be my top 10 list of my favourite coasters in the USA. It's also a note of I haven't ridden all of these coasters, I've ridden some of them, but it's just my personal feeling based on reviews online and videos and stuff that I've seen about what I believe to be the best coasters that are within the USA, and it's taking into account things like the theming, the overall ride experience, and how it fits within the park itself. And like I say, just my opinion. I'd love to hear your top 10 down below. Once again, I know everyone's list is going to be completely different, and like I say, I haven't ridden all of these coasters, only ridden a few of them, and therefore it might be not completely the same as something on your list. But if you do enjoy today's video, please do give it a like, it massively helps out the channel. Subscribe for more, and let's get into today's top 10 list of the best coasters in the USA. Starting off our list today then, we have Outlaw Run. This is the 2013 RMC wooden coaster with the Ottobox topper track located at Silver Dollar City in Branson, Missouri. This is the first wooden coaster to ever feature inversions. It features 3 inversions on this track. It has a 162 feet first drop and a top speed of 68 miles per hour. This is a fantastic terrain wooden coaster. It goes all throughout the forest around Silver Dollar City, and Silver Dollar City is known for its fantastic theming. This coaster doesn't necessarily have the most theming around the track itself, but has a lovely little station and entry plaza area, and to be the first wooden coaster with inversions makes this a really historic ride. I know from reviews online it can be a bit rattly, but I think it's got a fantastic looking layout from what we can see on POVs. It really does look fantastic. I love how it goes throughout the forest at Silver Dollar City. Fantastic night rides on this coaster, and that ending with the 2 inversions into the brake run, it looks like a really fantastic high-paced ending, and I think this looks like a really nice wooden coaster, one of the top 10 best coasters in America in my opinion. In at number 9 we have X2, the 2002 Aerodynamics 4th Dimension coaster at Six Flags Magic Mountain. This is sort of an early precursor of the B&M wing coasters mixed with a sort of spinning coaster in a way. And what I mean by that is this is a sort of wing coaster where the spinning seats actually rotate. It's not a free rotation. Every ride cycle has the same layout, but that means that the first drop you go down that 215 foot first drop facing the floor. Absolutely insane, super crazy, 76 miles per hour top speed with 2 inversions. I have heard it's a bit rattly, but this is super crazy and a very unique coaster. There's only 3 of these massive 4D coasters out there, the other 2 being in Asia, and this is so intense. Like I say, I know it's got a bit of a rattle, but to ride something this crazy, this intense, this awesome, I think it has to deserve a spot in the top 10 in my opinion, simply because of how unique and crazy this coaster is. Aerodynamics again creating another masterpiece and a really historic coaster. At number 8 we have the Voyage, a 2006 Gravity Group wooden coaster using PTC trains located at Holiday World in the USA. This is a super long wooden coaster layout with 6,442 feet of track and a top speed of 67 miles per hour. That might make you think the pacing on this ride isn't great, to have such a long coaster with a 67 miles per hour top speed, but trust me, this coaster keeps every inch of its speed, and that's what makes it so amazing. This is such a fantastic terrain coaster. It follows the layout of the forest and all the different bumps and hills and stuff that are in the forest around Holiday World. There's I think multiple different tunnels that this coaster actually takes. I think there's actually a double or a triple down within a tunnel on this coaster, and I've heard it's got some of the best night rides anywhere in the world. Absolutely no lighting around that coaster track into the deep forest around Holiday World, and for me the Voyage is one of the best wooden coasters anywhere in the world. To ride this one day, definitely on the bucket list. Fantastic coaster, and for me takes my number 8 spot. In at number 7 we have Mako, the 2016 B&M hypercoaster located at SeaWorld Orlando. Built at exactly 200 feet tall with 73 miles per hour top speed. This features the classic awesome lap bars, the clamshell restraints on those B&M hypercoaster trains. Fantastic layout, this keeps the speed throughout the layout. That speed hill and the way back towards the station is fantastic. Every airtime hill on this coaster isn't a dud. Every airtime hill gives you absolutely crazy airtime. The turnaround before coming back into the station at the end doesn't necessarily have the most forces, but is really scenic over the water, and one of my favourite B&M hypercoasters in the world. In at number 7 we have Mako. In at number 6 now, I think this might be a little bit controversial, but I actually have Velocicoaster, the 2021 Islands of Adventure Intamin multi-launch coaster. I think most people probably have this a fair bit higher, actually. I think, this has 4 inversions, 2 launches, with the top speed being 70 miles per hour that you reach on the second launch. 155 feet tall, highest point on the ride, and that's obviously on the really iconic top hat, one of the most iconic photo ops of any roller coaster out there in the world. And I think this is a fantastic coaster. I think the layout is great, but I do think there are better multi-launch coaster layouts out there in my opinion. I do prefer the Gotham City Escape in Madrid personally, but what really makes Velocicoaster is obviously that Jurassic World theming and the Velocicoaster theming. Absolutely fantastic work done by Universal, and I think that's what elevates this to be one of the best coasters anywhere in the world amongst enthusiasts. Obviously the Mosasaurus roll, probably the best inversion on any coaster in the world. The stall is awesome, and such a scenic coaster on the water at Islands of Adventure. Absolutely fantastic, and a true world-class coaster. So let's get into the top 5 list. And at number 5 now, we have El Toro, the 2006 Intamin prefabricated wooden coaster at Six Flags Great Adventure. This is a 181 feet tall wooden coaster with a top speed of 70 miles per hour. This is definitely one of the most intense and super crazy wooden coasters anywhere in the world. Those first few airtime hills, absolutely insane. Those long Intamin wooden coaster trains, if you're in the back row especially, you get absolutely ejected out of your seat. That first drop, so steep. The profiling of this track just doesn't seem like any of the wooden coasters we have there anywhere in the world. The Rolling Thunder Hill is supposed to be one of the best airtime hills anywhere in the world, and then I love how towards the end of the layout it changes from those massive airtime hills, just sticking close to the ground, having lots of tight, intense, whippy transitions, back and forth, little turns, keeping low to the ground. Such a unique wooden coaster, one of the best coasters out there, and I wish we had more of these Intamin prefab woodies out there because they are truly fantastic. In at number 4 now, just outside of the top 3, we have Fury 325, the 2015 B&M Giga Coaster at Carowinds. Obviously, hence the name, this stands at 325 feet tall and has a crazy high top speed of 95 miles per hour, the fastest coaster on this list. This 6,602 foot coaster has a super long layout and some crazy elements as well. The speed hill, the wave turn, this is one of B&M's most innovative coasters. I think it's probably B&M's best coaster. I think, this doesn't follow just the typical out and back airtime hill after airtime hill. They've tried to innovate with the elements that are on this. The treble cleft element is super nice, and I think it's one of the most photogenic coasters in the world. I think it's got an absolutely lovely colour scheme with that blue and green track with the white supports. I think it looks fantastic. The way it goes around the entryway around Carowinds, I think this is a super cool coaster and probably B&M's best coaster they've ever made, and I wish they made more Giga coasters like this with similar layouts, unlike Orion, but unfortunately it did just miss out on the top 3 for me. I think a lot of people could probably guess what the top 3 are, but might not necessarily know the order of the top 3. But in at number 3 we have Airy Force 1. This is the brand new for 2023 RMC iBox coaster, located at Fun Spot America in Atlanta, Georgia. I think when most people saw that Fun Spot Atlanta, this tiny park in the middle of nowhere outside of Atlanta, and this Six Flags over Georgia was getting an RMC iBox coaster, most people were completely shocked. But this truly has become one of the best coasters anywhere in the world. 155 feet tall, 64 miles per hour top speed, and 4 inversions. This coaster has absolutely relentless pacing. The inversion over the arcade looks insane. The quad down into the brake run, I've heard that's actually a bit too intense and people get injured or sort of hurt their legs on these RMC type coaster trains coming into the brake room. But I love airtime. For me, I think anything with relentless pacing, for me, I'd prefer that, a shorter ride but intense and fast rather than a longer, more drawn out coaster. And for me, therefore, Air Force 1 has to make its way into the top 3. I think this coaster looks insane, another RMC masterpiece, and I think we both know what's in the top 2 now, so let's see what order they're in. And at number 2 we have Steel Vengeance. Probably most people's number 1 coaster, at least until maybe over the recent years, has been most people's number 1 coaster for a hell of a long time since it opened in 2018. This is another RMC Hyper Hybrid coaster located at Cedar Point, the roller coaster capital of the world. 205 feet tall, 74 miles per hour top speed, and 5,749 feet of track with 4 inversions. This has the most airtime on any coaster in the whole world, with 27 moments of airtime, and for that reason alone, this coaster is absolutely fantastic, crammed full of airtime. But like I say, it has 4 inversions as well. Absolutely insanely long layout. It goes around the sort of course of the old Main Street 3 times. Obviously the first one's super large elements, and they sort of get smaller and smaller towards the end when you have lots of different bunny hills and hops. And this is a bit different to Air Force 1 and also the coaster which is located at number 1, in the sense that it's not sort of relentless pacing. And for me, that's why it's not my number 1. It's a much longer ride experience than Air Force 1 for me. And, I've heard, like I say, the ending of Air Force 1 is a bit painful, which is why I've placed this slightly above it. But, super long layout, full of airtime. But for me, like I say, I do personally prefer the intense nature of coasters when they're shorter and pack intensity into all of their elements. And for that reason, my number one coaster in the USA is Iron Gwazi, the 2022 RMC Hyper Hybrid coaster that opened at Busch Gardens, Tampa. This is slightly taller, just 1 foot taller than Steel Vengeance, 206 feet tall. It's 2 miles per hour faster with a top speed of 76 miles per hour, and it's about 1,700 feet shorter in a layout with 4,075 foot of track, with 2 less inversions, only having 2 inversions rather than the 4 that are featured on Steel Vengeance. This coaster is similar to Air Force One in the sense that it has absolutely breakneck pacing. I think, that twisted down drop inversion, it absolutely looks insane. I don't think we've really seen an inversion as crazy as that, maybe the Mosasaurus roll. But once again, this is probably RMC's best coaster in my opinion, probably the best coaster in America in my opinion, if not the world. I think it looks absolutely fantastic with that purple iBox track. And obviously the truss structure, really photogenic coaster, but to me this absolutely breakneck pacing, perfect pacing, slightly less painful in terms of reports on riders compared to Air Force One, which is why I prefer it to Air Force One and Steel Vengeance. But once again, this is just my list. I think this is the best coaster in America, Iron Gwazi, but I'd love to hear your top 10. What is your favourite coaster in America? What are your top 10 American coasters? Thank you very much for watching today's video again. If you did enjoy, please do give the video a like. It massively helps out the channel. Subscribe for more. Thank you for watching Coasternaut today, and I'll see you in the next one.